We'll do it live.
We're live, and I have no idea if anybody's watching. Anybody there? I can't even see what I'm. I got to get the watch page open up. I'm sorry to anybody watching. We got a little confused.
Oops.
I didn't know what I was doing. So.
I never know what I'm doing, so
It's
it's all
coming
good.
up. Oh, why is it showing the share link on the screen? What's going on here?
Today is a blur.
Gee, I can't imagine why today would be a blur. There you are.
Oh, my wife needs my opinion on something.
Okay, that's okay, because I have to get things shared out on the Twitter, because I don't think anybody's watching. And I'm being attacked by a cat. All right. So, anybody watching? I am so professional. Look at me here, guys. I'm tweeting and talking at the same time. Odinsons. And I'm getting clawed by a cat at the same time.
Okay, I'm back.
All right, and I just tweeted us out. I forgot to tag you in it.
That's because things and stuff.
Things and stuff is a pretty good description of my entire day, Ansgar.
I don't need to be tagged. I found it.
You found it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to tag on all the links on the bottom, because I'm always tagging. I don't know how many times I've tagged that.
And moving around.
Did we pick anybody watching? It's purple rhymes with orange. You are not talking with a sentient being because Snail is here. Snail is an insane asylum in a shell. And my cat is
Insane asylum in a shell.
Yes, my cat is not very happy. Don't bite the cord. You have food. You do. I know. So, how is your day going, Ansgar? All the streams fun?
Oh, they are fun. It's a blur, but it's like you know how like when you go to let's say an amusement park, right? And afterwards, like while you're there, you're having the time of your life, but it's also really tiring. It's basically that.
Okay. I get that.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. All right. So, let's see. Today still, we haven't decided when we're started doing the drawings yet. Do we know when we're doing the drawings yet?
We don't know because Jim Majors hasn't picked the time slot, and if he's going to do it, he said he's had some personal emergencies. We know we're going to do it sometime after 5 o'clock. After 6 o'clock Pacific time, sometime after that.
Okay, so after 6 o'clock Pacific time would be after 9 Eastern Standard Time, just for all the people who are like me, and it takes you a minute to translate those times, because it's hard.
So we don't exactly know when it's going to happen, because like after we're just going to keep going on this marathon until this is what I understood. We're just going to keep going on the marathon until people are like, oh, we're all done. We just can't do it anymore.
Are you kidding? Everybody we know talks nonstop. We'll be at this all week.
Eventually people have to work, babe.
That's why they're trading off.
See, we just like to torture you is part of the thing.
That's your meteorite die, right? Keep it handy.
Oh, yeah, this is my meteorite die. Yes.
This is your meteorite? Hold on, I'm not looking at my screen. What is your meteorite, guys? Show me again.
She was asking me. I have a D20 made of meteorite that she bought me some years ago.
Oh, okay. I'm really... Yeah. This is going to sound pathetic, but I am really proud of myself that I actually know what a D20 is now.
The show that we're doing after yours is like... there's a lot of prep involved for me.
I understand. The Great Debate community would involve a lot of prep. But hopefully we get some raffle tickets sold by going on the Great Debate community.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
And I've got a meteorite here. I love meteorites. I also got a couple stickers in the mail. You want to see them?
You
Oh,
got
yes.
stickers in the mail?
These are available for sale, in fact.
Oh,
Yeah. Yes, from my Teespring store.
those are so cool.
I haven't decided where I'm going to put them on yet, but they're awesome.
Those
love
look like laptop stickers.
They'd be great laptop stickers. In fact, they're vinyl, and they can even be reused, so you can peel them off of things and re-stick them.
Okay. That is
Oh,
awesome.
Yes, love.
at some point, do you already have the picture of Freya in the forge that's not safe for work in the store on something?
I'm sure I do.
Because somebody specifically wants it there. And I said I would talk to you and make it happen. So make it happen.
Tell them to go to luminariumcomic.com and go over to the swag section, and they can put that piece of art on a lot of things.
I would, but I don't remember who it was. Just I've talked to so many people.
Always tell people when they ask about things like that to go to luminariumcomic.com.
Okay.
Because that has links to both the Teespring merchandise that's already been pre-made and has a store where you can make your own goodies.
Hey, we're up to 3 people watching. That's awesome.
Yay!
Hey, given that we threw this up in like 10 minutes late and with no announcement, we're doing pretty good to have 3 people watching. I'm a pretty tiny channel.
It's true. It's
Yes.
true. I've got to check on the status of the fundraiser, see if anyone's donated more recently.
Yes.
No, the last donation was 5 hours ago.
Okay.
No, it hasn't been. Has it been that long?
It has been that long.
Have we been at this that long?
Yes.
I feel like it was just a little bit ago.
No, we've been at this that long, babe. You're adorable.
It goes fast when you're talking to people who are fun
So
to
busy.
talk to.
Yes, it's true. It's true. So that would mean that the total has not changed.
Okay. It's still a pretty amazing total. It really
It is.
is.
It is. Let's see here. That was... What time did this come in? Oh, no, there has been a more recent donation of $20 from someone. I'm not going to read anyone's names out without their permission, but a donation of $20 on PayPal.
Woohoo!
Yay! Thank you if you're out there listening.
Yes, very much, yay.
Hey, we have a Tim in the chat.
Tim! Yay! I was torturing him for a while.
Oh, were you?
Yes, we talked after you guys got off a little bit, so we were torturing him for a bit.
Awesome. Well, we tortured you a little bit, so it's only fair.
Yes, you did, but then I got you back by giving you, you probably haven't had a chance to see it. I set out a video of a brisket that had been cooked in a sous vide for a month.
Is that enough rope?
So bad. So bad. So bad. I can't even, they opened it up in their kitchen. I can't imagine the smell. Oh my God. I thought the guy was going to pass out.
That sounds horrible.
Oh, what a waste of brisket.
I know. You don't waste good meat. That's just wrong.
Yes. Never waste good meat.
Never. So yeah, love, see if you can find the person who wanted that and show him also the color version.
I will do everything I can. I just don't remember who it was. It was like days ago.
Jesus.
This week has felt like a year, so I totally get what she's coming at.
Oh, it has. It really, really has. Oh, and she drank all my coffee. So I am coffeeless.
I didn't drink all of it. There's some.
There's some? Where is it?
Mm.
Where's the cup? I know it's in the cup.
Oh, I don't know where that is.
Where's the coffee? In the cup.
I love it. We're up to 5 people watching. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Let's see.
We are insane.
Yes, we are. I am insane. I did want to tell you a story, though. I got sidetracked in the other chat with Lavender later, but we were talking about food. And we were talking about crazy food stories, and I wanted to share with you. So, when I was growing up, my grandfather lived in the house with my parents and us. Big old family farmhouse. It worked out. I'm sure it was a little hard on their marriage, but they made it work. But he retired when I was about 5, and my mom went back to work, so he did most of the cooking. And my grandfather grew up primarily in the Great Depression. So potatoes were his thing. So we routinely had 2 things in our meals. We had potatoes twice a day in some form or another.
And makeup, and I will borrow you momentarily after that to lace up my bodice.
Okay, baby. She's telling us. Snail's trying to tell a story here.
That's okay. And he liked to make meatloaf. Don't get me wrong. Meatloaf is great, but my grandfather thought that meatloaf should contain anything left over in the fridge that needed to be used up.
Oh no. So it was like, oh no.
Meatloaf surprise. And once in a while, the surprises turned out well. Like, meatloaf with zucchini and squash in it turns out to be delicious.
Oh, that sounds horrible. No, thank you.
If you like zucchini, it turns out to be delicious if done properly.
Mm-hmm.
Meatloaf with...
There's far too many caveats there. If you like zucchini,
yes,
it might turn out to be proper. Okay.
Yeah, he got it right sometimes. And then there were other ones where he made the meatloaf with rabbit meat. That was not a good surprise. Especially since Grandpa wasn't so hot about getting the BBs out of the rabbits.
Oh no.
So I have this thing where I love rabbits. I really enjoy eating rabbit. And I have a paranoia about eating it because I have bitten so many BBs while trying to eat rabbit that my mouth is like, I don't want to put this in my mouth even though it tastes really good.
So basically, it's like Cracker Jacks, but the surprise inside is lead poisoning.
Basically.
Flint
That's
rabbits.
fantastic.
Hi, Obed. How are you?
Fine. I'm going to be turning my mic on and off because I'm stuffing my face with some toast.
That is okay.
I figure you guys don't need to hear me chewing.
Food sounds good. I'm going to have to do the food thing eventually.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to find a time to take care of yourself and all that kind of stuff when you're doing all this.
I figure when I crash, I'm just going to crash and sleep, and then I will wake up tomorrow and clean my house.
Yes, that is indeed the idea.
I think I'll be getting up when you guys might be going to sleep tomorrow. Because I'm interviewing someone from the UK, so I'm getting up at like dark stupid.
Oof.
Oh.
I love dark stupid sometimes, though.
Yeah, it's all right now and then, but yeah.
I usually don't go to bed like my normal. I don't really have a schedule, but I usually don't go to bed until like 5, 6 in the morning. That's about time I'm going to sleep.
I am going to be so glad for Growly when you have a separate room to do that in.
Yes, because I am nocturnal.
You and Alucard are going to get along well.
Yes.
He's worked too many second and third shifts. He's semi-nocturnal.
I mean, like, I can force myself to be up during the day for a time, but I am definitely, like, nocturnal is my default.
With me, it's about like I need about 5 hours of sleep, and I don't care where I get that 5 hours, right? So if I get to bed at 4 in the morning, I'll sleep till about 9 or 9:30, and then I'm up. I go to bed at midnight, I'll wake up at like 5, between 5 and 5:30.
If
Right.
I
I
just need
get
that
less,
5.5 hours.
if I get less than about 6.5, I just don't function well.
Well, okay, every so often, so I'll say maybe once every 2 months, I'll crash and I'll crash hard and I'll sleep for like 12 hours. But aside from that, 5.5 hours, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I sleep about 4 to 5 hours a night. Is about what I sleep.
Do you nap during the day?
No,
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, naps are like the best thing in the world.
Naps are lovely.
I hate sleep. I honestly hate sleep. I feel like it's robbing me of hours of my life that I could be doing something like productive.
Yeah, but here's the thing: your brain needs to shut down.
It does.
If you don't give it that time, what you consider productive is just like basically some guy on a coke binge writing something down, thinking it's brilliant, but it's not.
Well, fortunately, I operate fine on 4.5
Okay,
or
no,
so hours of sleep.
that's fine. That's that all you need 8 hours of sleep. That's everyone whatever's good for you, but you need that 4.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So or whatever, like don't begrudge yourself that because I could have been productive in those 4.5 hours. Yeah, but then you do that for 2 or 3 days straight, and you're not really productive anymore. So take that 4.5 hours.
All right.
So the current numbers, because Faye was asking, and I'll post it in the charity, but current number on numbers on the GoFundMe are 2,529, and on PayPal is 1,185, combined to $3,714 raised by you amazing, wonderful people.
Every time I hear that number, it just blows my mind. It just blows my mind. We started these on Sunday. This is, oh my gosh.
When you first told me that I needed to put up this charity, I was like, we can get like a couple $100 and it's going to be nothing. There's no reason to do it. And you're like, no, I will break the laws of physics if I have to. I think you may have broken the laws of internet physics, Snail.
Okay, I'll take that one. So Angie, the whole day we're running separate live streams all day. The raffle drawings are actually going to be later tonight after the Great Debate stream, sometime after 8 or 9 o'clock Pacific time? No, 6 or 7 o'clock Pacific time.
Yeah. If somebody wants to pick, how about this? After the Great Debate Community, which is runs probably 5 to 6 Pacific time, I think then we would see if anyone else wants to pick up any more time. If not, then we'll go to my channel and we'll do the raffles and stuff like that. If somebody wants to pick up more time, then we will keep going because it's a marathon. So, for instance, Ansgar, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. A little tired, but I'm doing good. I'm having the time of my life. Honestly, I've gotten to meet more amazing, wonderful, interesting people during this whole time than I ever have. Okay, so Nadine, I guess, pushed herself to after the GDC. So we will go to Nadine's channel after the GDC.
And what's really sad is I just tweeted out Nadine's thing. I knew she was on right after GDC. I'm so sorry, Nadine. My brain is just like all over the place. Yeah, so we've got this, and I'm just gonna hang on and go until you guys gotta leave for GDC. And then after GDC, you're going to flop to Nadine and, there it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're talking about the GoFundMe and all that, which is awesome. But lately I've been following this thing on Twitter A friend of mine started doing it, and there's a couple of hashtags going around called "clear the lists" and "shrink the lists," and it's basically teachers that are putting out wish lists from Amazon, and these are teachers from like K through middle school, start of high school type of thing.
Yeah, that's actually it. It's been going on for a couple of years.
Yeah, and I mean,
It's
but
terrible.
like you see this, and then like the amount of people who are going out and buying stuff for them, and then this year there was an organization called Support a Teach. Like I spoke to the woman who started it, and she said like she started July 1st, and within the first month and a half, they got some like 300,000 members join up, like saying we need help. But the people are giving it, and it's awesome that people are giving that money, for things like kids getting stuff for school. But I guess I talked about this last night. Like some of the lists, they have pencil sharpeners on them. I'm like, you can't get pencil sharpeners in classrooms in the U.S. Like, what the fuck?
What? So, how political do we want to get, Ansgar?
Sorry, I didn't mean to go there. I was talking about how nice it was that people would actually do this on the GoFundMe, and then I went on a little rant. Sorry about that.
Hey, if you want to get political, we can get political. I don't mind.
I don't want to get too political, but yeah, we've been defunding the education system for about 25 years now, and it's horrid what we're doing. And then people blame the teachers and the schools for not turning out educated kids and claiming that we need all these private schools, when what it is we're not giving them any money to work with. You can't keep a building going, you can't buy books, you can't fill the classroom if you don't have any money.
Well, one of the problems that we have too is that we have allowed too much political bullshit to inject itself into schools. We have things like, the state of sex education and health education in our schools is just fucking abysmal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
it's not based on science. It's based on people's stupid religion.
Yeah, okay, but the religious aspect is not as bad in Canada, but there is still some of that here. But, I mean, we same thing, cutting funding for schools. I have friends who are teachers. When I was working up north, it's a very tiny community. You know everyone, right? And up there, it's even worse because the transport costs. Everything has to be flown up. Mm-hmm. So, the schools have next to nothing. It's awful. So, I know some of these problems, but, I'm thinking, okay, more stuff like books and, like a lot of the things I've been seeing lately are for special needs kids, like the tactile toys and stuff. And I can kind of understand that because they're very specialized and they're a little bit more expensive. But when I start seeing like Velcro, so for putting up stuff, so like on the wall, whatever, like little Velcro strips or those little round Velcro dots, or like a bulletin board, or like I said, pencil sharpeners. I'm like, come on, like those are just that has to be the basic, right? Like there's got to be a minimum level of what they get in the classrooms.
There isn't. Depends on. It's going to depend on the area very heavily too.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of the ones I learned about what Title I schools are, because a lot of the ones I've been seeing, they're also teacher at a Title I school and stuff like that. So I learned what that was, and so you see that, and it's like, okay, you're from depressed areas and stuff, but still,
Okay. Wonder Lady has a suggestion. We need to do a stunt or a story. So if we can get a $25 donation, Ansgar's got to tell a cute. What do we want to what do we want to torture Ansgar with?
Torture me with?
I don't know you guys well enough to figure that out. So honestly,
I could have Growly come in briefly and tell you the story of my father playing the cat. Or, which is a little embarrassing because I have to admit what a fucking hick my family is. And then there's, let's see, there is I think that's a good one, playing the cat. I will have Growly come in and tell the story of my dad playing the cat.
All right. I'm posting that on Twitter.
Okay. If we can get a $25 or more donation. And then don't forget that there's also a standing challenge from Nervardia for a $200 donation. She'll hop on and tell everybody about the most bizarre post-coital response she's ever seen.
Oh my goodness. I really want to hear that story.
I do too. I've got
a bit of an... Okay, I don't know who the story is embarrassing for, me or the person... Well, the person you'll find out about in the story. So I was working in Kabul, and I switched contracts, and I get hired on by this French company to stay in Afghanistan, but it's a different contract, same kind of work. But they have to fly me to France to do some stupid training, and I'm like, why? I already know the job. I'm already here. But so trip to France, get the hell out of Afghanistan, go. So anyways, I'm flying all night, land in Paris, and I got to go from Paris, take a train to some small town in the Loire Valley. At the train station, I run to a friend of mine who's on the contract, and he's like, oh, hey, you're on here too, blah, blah, blah. We start talking about hotel rooms because I wasn't sure where we're going to stay. He said, I'll just stay at the one I'm staying at because the other one, like the other couple of hotels in town that are nice, you can't cook. You got to eat out all the time. The one I'm at, we've got...
Did I lose
Sounded
somebody?
great. So I go with him to his hotel room. Pardon?
Go ahead.
So anyways, I go with him to his hotel room or his hotel. I ask for a room, and they say, okay, you're in room whatever, 100, whatever it is. So I go to the room, open up the door to go put my stuff in, take a shower. Then me and my buddy were going to go out for drinks. I open up the door. It's Sunday afternoon. There's a guy on the bed jerking off.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was like, okay. Shut the door, walk downstairs, go to the front desk. I'm like, yeah, you gave me someone else's room. She's like, are you sure there's someone in the room? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. So I left there, went to another hotel, got a room at another hotel because I just didn't trust this one at this point. And then 2 days later, I go to work. And when we went to work, we had to go in, wait at reception for someone to come take us in because it was a secure place. And we technically weren't employees and whatever, like even though we worked for them in Afghanistan. I'm waiting at the reception by the security, and who walks in? The guy, like that guy. Like I open up the door.
Oh no!
It's like we're both sitting there, kind of like uncomfortable silence, waiting for. Like I said, I don't know who that's more embarrassing for, me or the guy who. But the guy actually didn't do it. His hotel room on a Sunday afternoon. He's not expecting someone to walk in, right?
Yeah.
Do whatever you need to do, man. But
That's terrible.
Yeah. So.
And Ansgar, I was just really naughty and tweeted about Nirvana's offer.
Oh, good.
So would you double check that I got it right and then retweet it?
Yes, I will.
And let's hope Nirvana doesn't kill me. Because I like her. She's funny. I don't want to die. Oh. And that is a horrible story, man.
It wasn't horrible. Okay, now
it's not horrible, but horribly funny, I suppose, is what I was going for. So
also, this was a really small town, right? It's like everyone knew everyone. They didn't really have taxi services. It was private people giving, using their cars as taxis. So we were using this husband and wife because they knew everyone, and we like the people who'd been on this contract had continued using them. So one morning she comes to pick.
Eyeliner died.
Like, why are you staying at this hotel where everyone else from Talus is staying at that hotel? And I tell her the story. And then that night after work, we were all going to meet at the local bar that we all hung out at. So I showed up a little bit late. I walk in, there's the bartender, and then there's a husband from the taxi, husband and wife taxi driving team, and a couple other locals that know us now. And they all start laughing, and the guy behind the bar goes, I hear you had some trouble with a Chinese guy in a hotel room, because this was a Chinese guy. And so now there's some small town in the Loire Valley that knows me as a Canadian who walked in on a Chinese guy jerking off in a hotel room.
It's a helpful thing to be known for.
That's my claim to fame, man. The clock's at 15 minutes.
That's good.
That's awesome. I'm sorry. Those things are embarrassing when they happen, but boy, they make good stories.
What?
Like I said, Sorry, go ahead.
One of the more, I mean, it's not really worth a donation story. It's not that ridiculous, but it's strange that this is one of those stories that sticks out in my head, like it's burned into my memory of it happening. But it was mildly embarrassing. Was coming back from the bathroom at a restaurant and sitting down at the wrong table and taking like 3.5 seconds for me to realize I was at the wrong table. like I'm starting to talk and I look up and those are the wrong adults and they're just sitting there smiling, waiting for me to notice.
Do you remember those big ass 80s and early 90s station wagons with like the fake wood on the side and all that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I love those things.
It was about 88, I guess, somewhere around there. Like I was 18-ish. And I'm waiting for some friends to come pick me up and I'm like burning a fatty. And then this, like, one of those station wagons pulls up and it's identical to my buddy's. And there's two people sitting in the front. Like, one's got blonde hair, one's got brown hair. And it was like, there's like my buddy and this other buddy of ours. They're always like together. I thought it was them. I go in the back seat, open up the door. It's an old man and a woman, like they'd come to do their grocery shopping, and there I am with a spliff in my mouth, opening up the door, about to go walk into their car. Freaked him out just a little bit.
That's awesome.
That is way awesome.
You know, oh, I had a little Geo Metro in high school, and it was white, so it was a very common color in my area. And I took it to college, and there was another one that was identical 4-door Geo Metro on the same campus. And we were and somehow the person ended up in a dorm, like right next to me. I never knew who the other person was, but we would he or she must have been doing it on purpose too, because we were always parked like about 6 cars away from each other. And we'd send people, and there were you could always see. I don't know about the other person, but I was always going to the wrong car. And one point there was a note on the car about, "Who are you and what do you have my car for?" Tim has a story he says that he will sell. It involves a day-long kendo competition, bad sushi, alcohol, a bicycle, and mystery potatoes.
That's a hell of a setup. How much are you putting up the story for, Tim? I love stories. Wouldn't it be great to have a bar-like setting that was just dedicated to storytelling? Like no loud music or anything, just some light ambient music, and people sitting around and just telling stories. That would be fucking awesome.
Sounds like a D&D bar.
Yeah, but imagine if at the center, there was a center area just for one person to tell stories to the whole bar, so you could take turns telling stories. That'd be cool.
You could do it like the places that do the poetry slam nights.
Yeah.
That would be
so
fun.
Tim says he'll put for someone who donates $15,000. No, I'm kidding. For someone who donates $15, he will tell the story of the day-long kendo competition, bad sushi, alcohol, a bicycle, and mystery potatoes.
That's just I have to tweet this out. Sorry,
yes.
Tim.
That is an interesting setup. That's how can you not want to hear that story after that?
I want to hear the story. Can't type and talk at the same time.
Nope. Right.
I have learned so much about online fundraising this week that it's ridiculous.
Right? And you have been the best at describing all the raffle items and things like that. I think we've sold more tickets when you were describing things than I shouldn't say sold, but we gave away. We were able to push more tickets at people when you described than any other time.
Well, I'm glad I'm helped, but if you want, you should hear a really good person at it, because I'm a secondhand skill. My father and my sister, when they do it, they could sell ice to Eskimos, man, and they would think they were getting the best of the deal. These guys are good. Purple, that's awesome.
I think someone should take Purple up on that offer. That sounds like a deal.
Is it really a scam? Well, I don't know that Purple's talking about this particular fundraiser. So maybe Purple really did scam someone.
I think somebody should donate $1,000 and we can hear that story. I mean, you know.
Oh, this is just silly. I love it.
Yes. Besides, for a donation of $1,000, you'll have great odds of getting that X-Files poster from Josiah. That's true. That's true.
Yes, that is very true. Poor Josiah. We are teasing him so hard.
He will freak out. He will freak right out. No, I'm not. Wonder Lady's asking me if I'm okay. I look a little pale. No, I'm fine. I just probably the lighting right now. That's all. All good. I am totally good. Do I look pale to you guys?
Not
like more so than usual?
No.
Not to me.
Okay. I do remember that I am a Scandinavian who never goes out in the sun. So pale is my default. Like, look, I mean, here. Look, that's my skin color.
Yeah.
Until I go out into the sun, and then it turns, red.
Hey, a fellow goes from white to red to white again.
Yes. No tanning.
Well, I've been working on my tan for about 50 years.
Purple run with orange. I think no one has ever seen you in daylight. I do have some pictures of me in daylight, and they are few, but I do have some pictures. In fact, I think I've got one on my Discord. In fact, I think I'm using. I don't know. Oh, I'll see. Oh, someone has donated $15, so we get to hear Tim's tale. Thank you, because I want to hear that tale. So we gotta get Tim in here to tell the tale.
Yes, because I need to hear this tale. I want to hear this tale. All right, now I got to figure out how to send Tim the link. Hold on. I know how to do this.
You sure?
No, I'm not sure.
You're so adorable.
Stop saying that. I will hurt you. Okay.
But this makes it cuter.
Okay, where's my invite? Hey. Google, give me my invite back. There's normally a... Oh, there it came up. I was clicking the button not as tight as it wanted. All right. Tim headed to Twitter DMs to torture you. There we go. All right. I sent him the DM for the hangout. We'll see how long it takes him to get in here. Half an hour and the sun turns me lobster red for 2 weeks and then I peel to white. Yeah, I have the same problem.
Yep. Yeah.
I worked at a zoo as an intern for a summer in northern Wisconsin, which you think wouldn't be too much of a problem for burning.
When
S.
you are super white, just
Hello.
walking under bright fluorescent light can be enough.
Hey, is Tim here?
It's a Tim.
It is
What's
a
up,
Tim.
man?
The ceiling.
All right, I'm gonna mute myself so I can
We're
hear
gonna
the.
hurt you.
Say again?
We're muting ourselves so we can hear you.
Oh, right. Okay, you want the tail. Yes. Okay. So, wait a minute. So this is basically the tale of the last time I went drinking in Japan. And the main thing here, of course, is to remember that I'd been in Japan for about 2.5 years at this point. And I'd been a member of a local kendo club for about 2 years. And I got good enough to the point where they invited me to a principality wide tournament. So here I am, one of 2 white men out of probably something in the region of 8,000 participants in this competition. And, sort of geared up to go for a couple of days beforehand. And my son's dancing in the background. So I wake up at about probably 4, 5 a.m. The kids are at my in-laws' house, and I realize that considering this is going to be about somewhere between a 5 and 8 hour long competition, if I eat at the moment, I'm probably just going to vomit within the first hour. So I didn't eat. I made myself a pot of tea, and this pot of tea, as it turned out, after I began drinking said tea, it turned out the leaves were covered in mold and had turned the tea a rather bad flavor, which I didn't realize before drinking. I thought, fuck it, I need the hydration. Hopefully the mold gives me extra electrolytes. I'll down it. Not a good decision. I then moved on, bought a couple of liters worth of other teas at the local convenience store before getting on the train to try and wash out the horrible, horrible flavor. Got to the venue, got myself armored up, registered, and began some of the most grueling 1v1 fights I've ever been in, with anyone less than a 7th grade level. And so here we are, wearing something in the region of 15 kilos worth of armor, throwing a sword or two around, each weighing probably close to a kilo a sword. Screaming at each other, full volume, wearing thick cotton clothing in the middle of a summer day, I might also add. Just battling at each other's heads for 3+ hours before the competition organizers called lunch, or early lunch, at which point I realized, fuck, I didn't bring lunch. Luckily, my kendo club mates had organized for a member-wide lunch to be delivered. Unfortunately, the person who delivered our sushi-based bento didn't really think about delivery mechanisms. So when our sushi got delivered to us, it was, shall we say, more than warm from the summer sun. So having had literally nothing to eat and having been wailing on others and being wailed upon for the better part of 3 hours or more, I thought, fuck it, I've got to get something in me or I'm going to faint. So I ate bad sushi. Yes, Japan has bad sushi. We then continued with the competition for another 3 hours, which, as you can imagine, my stomach began to protest at. Finally, my partner's ends, and it comes time for me to begin judging, because when you do kendo, you don't just hit people in the head, you have to judge how other people hit each other in the heads with big sticks. So I then spent the next 2.5, maybe 3 hours or so on my feet, pretty much eyeballs peeled, no blinking, staring as intently as one can possibly stare and listening as intently as one can possibly listen to the sounds of people hitting each other in the head with giant bamboo sticks. After all that, it's finally time to go home. So I managed to get on the train, go home, and I suddenly get an invite to an after party from my teachers. And so I have a quick shower, jump on my bike, my bicycle, that is, not motorbike, for anyone confused by that term, around the world, and cycle the 8 kilometers to one of my teacher's little restaurants where he's holding this party for the club members. Now, keep in mind that this was a club where we had something in the region of 60 members, and he'd organized for enough food and drink for most of those members, plus maybe half of them to bring their partners, and for some strange reason, we still didn't have enough food. Close to 200 people showed up. And as it turned out, half of them had either decided to give up drinking that week and not told anyone else, or their wives told them, no, you're not drinking tonight, for no reason at all. And being the only white person in the room at this part of the event, it was decided, hey, you're white, you can drink. You have everyone share.
Oh no.
So over the course of about 2 hours, where the only food that I had was probably a slice of pizza and half a piece of sushi, I had to consume close to 8 liters of beer. And then our club leader brings out his good stuff. He brought out the shochu, which I don't know if you're aware is basically Japanese whiskey or vodka.
Oh no! Oh no!
And I'm the only person in the room who drinks the shit. So here I am with this 80-something-year-old fireman. He's still an active fireman, I might add. What is he now? 7th dan, so 7th level black belt in kendo, and you don't get much higher than that. Tiny little person. Like I'm 5'7". He was here. And yeah, here we go. After I've already had several liters of beer, he then pulls out 3 bottles of shochu, different types, all of them absolutely delicious. All of them about 1.5 liters a bottle, and he proceeds to encourage me to drink with him. And between the two of us, we got down about 2.5 of those bottles. They were fresh from the bottle.
Oh no!
So shochu is one of these drinks that kind of creeps up on you, and I didn't realize quite how much I'd been drinking or how drunk I really was until I went to stand up. At which point it all kind of hit me like a baseball bat to the back of the head. I don't mean a steel baseball bat to the back of the head. And so I am sort of wobbly and barely able to walk, but so confident in my drunkenness that I'm fine. You know, this is like 3 a.m. at this point as well, by the way. And I get escorted to my bicycle, which is still sitting out on the road. And I managed to get on my bicycle, get my legs over.
When you have to be escorted to your bicycle, there's a problem.
Get onto my bicycle, say my final goodbyes as drunkenly as humanly possible to the proprietor, and get my feet off the ground onto the pedals to begin cycling. At this point, I have no memory. Everything just goes, just gone. There's nothing. Until my feet next touch the ground. About halfway home, there was a traffic light in front of a police station, which I normally pass quite regularly on my way to do the supermarket shopping. So I was quite familiar with the area. Feet down, realize where I am, think, cool. I had stopped, by the way, if anyone's wondering, for the red light at fucking 3 a.m. There was no cars there at all. I didn't need to wait for the fucking light. Anyway, I turn to my right, have a look at, the 4 Japanese policemen that are standing in front of the station watching the traffic lights. And they don't realize that I speak fluent Japanese.
Did we lose him?
I think he's cutting out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you now. You
Last
just cut
thing
out
I
there
heard-
for a sec. And now you're muted.
Sorry, my headset died. Anyway, so here I am, 3 a.m., drunk as any human could possibly hope to be and still be alive. Standing straddled over my bicycle in front of a police station in Japan with 4 Japanese cops just staring at me. Technically, it's illegal to drink and cycle in Japan as well, by the way. So they were wondering if they should arrest me. And so they're turning to each other and they're muttering under their breath in Japanese, "What do we do? I don't know. Do you speak English? No. Do you? No. What do we do? He's drunk. I don't know what to do." And at this point, here I am, and I'm in the kind of mood where I kind of want to take the living piss out of them. So I just turn to them while on my bicycle, and I just turn my head, and I basically just say the equivalent of "good evening." So I just turn to them and say "domo." And in unison, all 4 of them sort of look at me and together bow back, "domo." At which point the light turns green and I get my feet back on the pedals and then begin cycling home and my memory stops until I get back in my apartment and I close and lock the door and my memory starts up, which is kind of worrying because it means that I have not only gotten off my bicycle, but climbed 5 flights of stairs, unlocked my door, opened it, gotten back in, and then locked it again without knowing anything about it. I then realize that I'm holding something other than the doorknob, and it turns out to be a small plastic bag full of potatoes. To this day, we have no idea where these potatoes came from.
And thus the mystery potatoes.
Now, unfortunately, the story does continue a little bit because I spent the next 2 hours hugging the toilet and vomiting up so badly that I didn't drink for another year afterwards.
Of course, that might have more to do with the bad sushi than the alcohol.
Don't know, but so that is my story of the day-long kendo competition, the bicycle, the alcohol, and the mystery potatoes.
But you do, just for 1 second, you do realize that there is a connected story to this, right? Somewhere out there, there's a Japanese person who's waking up, not finding their potatoes, and telling a story like this about when they had their potatoes ripped off.
Oh, that's good.
God, that's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that was funny. It was a good story, right?
Oh my gosh, that's
It gets
awesome.
better with every retelling somehow.
Oh, by the way, Nervardia replied to your tweet saying it's a bit of a doozy, to be honest. So I have to hear this story. Oh my God, it's going to be hard to top the mystery potatoes. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Tim. That was awesome.
That really was.
That is awesome. Oh, I need a gift that says big eyes.
Oh, mystery potatoes. That sounds like a great name. I don't know if like even like a YouTube channel that just tells strange stories like that. Just call it mystery potatoes.
That was.
I think you broke the snail.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. No, I'm still laughing. I'll mute. You guys talk.
No. Go ahead. Keep laughing. We like you laughing.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can just picture this drunk guy holding these potatoes by his door. and that awesome scene, you can just picture him on his bicycle bowing and the cops bowing back. Oh. See, I don't have any of these really good stories because I'm kind of not interesting because I don't drink very much. Because what happens when I drink is I fall asleep.
Gotta drink more.
Can't drink more. All that happens when I drink is I fall asleep.
Remember one time we had a 4th of July party at our place in East LA, and our buddy, who's actually, well, he was our buddy at the time. Now he's our roommate. Was over, and he fell asleep on our bench, and it was time for him to go, and his friend Joel was taking him home, and so we're like, hey Michael, wake up, come on man, time to go. He goes, bitching, but doesn't move. And we're like, no dude, it's time to go. Joel's taking you home. Bitching. No, Michael, really, it is time to get up, man. It's time to go home. You don't want to sleep on this bench all night. Bitching.
He really wanted to sleep on the bench all night.
And so we're probably like, Michael, wake up. We go, huh? What? Joel's taking you home. No, don't roll off. You're gonna fall. Thud. Oh, shit. Come on, dude, get up. And as he's getting up, he's like, before he gets up, he's like looking around on the ground. He goes, bitchin'. What the fuck? You were too drunk to anything. That was also the night that he pissed all over our trash cans.
That's less amusing.
Okay,
fortunately, they were outside trash cans, you know.
So back in the late 80s, college days and stuff, we're leaving this bar. A few of us, one of my buddies was driving, and this is late 80s. Everyone, was doing drinking and driving. So yes, we were bad. Anyways, he dropped a couple people off. Then he's dropping me off, and then another buddy of ours. And so I get out of that car, and I happen to look in the back seat, and I'm like, "Hey man, Brad's passed out. Just make sure you drop him off, right?" So I guess he forgot that Brad had passed out and didn't notice he was there because Brad was passed out. So he goes home, parks the car, blah, blah, blah. Next morning, his dad wakes up, jumps in the car, drives out. And this is in the middle of summer, so the windows were all rolled up, whatever. Montreal is really muggy and hot in the summer. You can get up to like 100, a little over 100, whatever. And so he's sleeping in the car, windows rolled up. Dad wakes up the next morning. I don't know where he's going for a while, but Mr. Dello says that, he drove for about half an hour, and then Brad's head pops up from the back. He's like, I almost had a heart attack because I didn't realize he was in there. And they're just hungover teenagers back of his car because he's passed out from the night before when his son was too drunk to drop them off.
Oh. You guys have too many troublemaking stories.
Fun making trouble.
But that's just it. You make your own fun, right?
Yeah.
Okay, when we were kids, the subway system in Montreal, when the doors shut, there's they shut and it's like a little recess, so you have about a 3-inch ledge on the outside of the door. We were kids, so we were about 9 or 10. We lived the part of Montreal we lived in was it was like a suburb, but it was right attached to the city, so it was 5 minutes by transit. We were pretty much downtown. So we would go downtown and watch movies and stuff on the weekend, just a bunch of kids, right? We'd get to the subway station. We'd stand at one end of the subway station, so the last car that would arrive, and it would be the last car to leave at the other end, right? So as soon as the doors closed and the subway's about to start moving, we would spread eagle ourselves on that ledge, stare inside. The people inside are freaking out because we're a bunch of little kids and they think we're going to fall and die, which we might have. And we wait until the car goes to the other end of the tunnel, and just before it goes to the tunnel, jump out so you can stay on the longest. So we had a lot of fun with that. We weren't drinking. We were like 9 or 10. We were just stupid. We were just very stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
Which, drinking stupid, same thing.
Pretty much. And collective IQs plummet when you put especially young males in the same vicinity.
Oh, yeah.
I will say that females probably do the same thing, but it doesn't seem to be quite as evidently obvious all the time.
I would say that they don't get dumber. They other things happen, right? But males in particular really get dumber, especially young males. As the more of them you collect, the collective IQ just plummets. Pretty soon, they're I'm going to throw this hammer up in the air and see if I can, use this helmet I'm wearing to catch it and stupid shit like that.
That sounds like an actual story of something you did, Ansgar.
Not something I did, but I've seen it. I did not participate. They were throwing the hammer up in the air, and they had a hard hat, and they were running and trying to make sure they got the hard hat under the hammer to let the hammer hit the hard hat.
I'm not hearing this. I'm literally covering my face with my hands now because I cannot look at the screen. No.
And I was just like, nah, man, nah. And of course, one of them who got drunk, threw it, and went to run to catch the hammer, and the helmet fell off of his head. And he didn't realize that he's like doing this, and people are like yelling at him. He thinks they're cheering him on, and dink, he goes down in a heap.
Oh.
I can one up you on the stupidity level there.
Oh God.
If not the comedy level. So I have cousins who sometimes forget that they have brains. And one time at a Christmas party, they decided to try and recreate the traditional Highland games from Scotland because we have Scottish ancestry. This was when they were like 14, so alcohol was not involved. And they didn't really have anywhere near the equipment that was necessary. So they ended up, instead of tossing a caber, they tried to toss a hammer. Like an actual hammer and nails kind of hammer. One of them thought that it would be a cool trick to catch it with his teeth when it fell down.
Oh.
What?
Oh.
I
Why?
did hear that right. I did not hear that right. I could not have heard that right.
So my cousin lost several teeth in the event of trying to catch a hammer as it fell down after imitating a caber toss.
Oh my lord.
What possessed him to think that this could even be done?
Scottish heritage?
Well, I mean, to be fair, they do go throwing themselves down a hill for a wheel of cheese every year.
Hey, I'd run after cheese.
No. Okay. There's a Scottish celebration every year where we're talking about a hill about this steep, and they roll a wheel of cheese down the hill, and people go running. Every year, people die, get broken legs, broken limbs, broken ribs, right? And the only prize you get is to keep the wheel of cheese. Now, I have a theory. I think that sometime during the Middle Ages, some evil English lord was like, you want to see something funny? I've got a bunch of starving peasants, and rolled a wheel of cheese down the hill, and that became his entertainment. Like you go kill yourself over food, and I'm going to laugh at you. And somehow the Scots were like, yes, this is the greatest thing ever.
Well, there's a couple things you've got to remember there. Number one, cheese. And number two, the Scots will kill each other for less than cheese. So,
Okay, so I was working in Sarajevo, and go to the British, the German. Every military, when they're on the base, they have a thing called an NSC, which is basically like a social club. So we go to the German one, and we're with the Germans having some fun, and then the Germans proceed to play this drinking game, and they're like, "Would you like to play?" I'm like, "Sure." So they bring out this big barrel,
shall we play a game?
and then they give everyone a nail, and then you just tap the nail slightly into the top of the barrel, so it stands enough, like it's in there enough so that it will stand on its own, but it's not like driven too far, right? And then you go around, and everyone takes a turn hitting their nail. If you miss, you got to take a drink. And then the first person to get their nail all the way in, everyone buys them around. This is a drinking game. People bashing a nail with a hammer, standing around a barrel, and getting drunker. This is kind of one of the most idiotic drinking games I can think of, because hammers and banging and drinking don't really go along well too well together.
No, they don't.
So yeah, that's a German drinking game. Kind of silly.
Wow.
That's just you guys.
I'm telling you, males in the same vicinity, when we collective IQs plummet. It's just a reality.
I have more proof regarding this, if you're interested.
Oh dear.
Absolutely.
Snail, you might want to go get something to put in your mouth.
Oh,
That
dear.
didn't sound kinky at all.
Seriously.
It didn't
Well,
until you said that.
No,
It did.
I honestly said that hoping someone would pick up on it because it's also thematically relevant. So there was this New Year's party at my mate's house. Well, technically at his girlfriend's house. And I think I was, 19, maybe 20 at the time. And I didn't start drinking until quite late, even for a Kiwi. Even for a legally drinking Kiwi, I should say. The drinking age over here is 18, and I didn't really start drinking until mid-19. So, anywho, here's me, sweet dick all experience, and having been made of for over a year by everyone who was drinking legally, and longer than that by those of my friends who were drinking early, which was most of them. Anywho, so I get to this New Year's party, and had on hand was a couple of bottles of soju and liquor, which I had for no particular reason, started getting into recently at the time. So I brought 4, 5, 6 bottles of that shit around, and no one else was drinking it, so I ended up drinking all of it myself. On top of having to basically play catch up, because thanks to work, I was 3 hours late to the party. So that meant that I had to drink a collective, because playing catch up meant that I had to drink the equal amount of everybody there. I had to drink the collective 12 shots of Sambuca. I had to drink, 3 Moscow Mules, a couple of screwdrivers. There was a lot of vodka. They loved their vodka. And 6 cans of one of the worst beers you'll ever find, New Zealand's Lion Red. And I don't care if I get sued for that, because Lion Red tastes like somebody just pissed in a can. No, that's insulting to this. Anyway. So here I am, playing catch up, and I can't even remember everything that they made me drink at this point. But then we got onto the drinking games, where there was basically a darts board, but it was on the ground, and you had to hold the dart onto your forehead and look down between your feet at the dartboard. If you missed the board, you took shots. If you actually hit the board, which is surprisingly hard to do, then you know how darts is normally scored? Well, that's how many shots you had to take.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so after several hours of this, we all decided that we'd all been drinking way too much. And decided to take it slow. So we all decided to go into the living room, watch a movie, and just sort of calm down before we began round 2. Now, when I say we decided to sort of slow down, I don't mean we decided to stop drinking for a little while. I mean we just decided to change drinks and sip them rather than down them like we had been. And the only movie that we had available, for some strange reason, happened to be a porno that my mate's girlfriend's parents had left behind. So we were drunk enough to think, fuck it, we all know well enough to not worry about this, and got literally nothing else to do. So we'll just watch porn at 1 on a New Year's Day. And so on goes the porn, and I sit down on the sofa, can of beer in hand, and I think something doesn't quite feel right. Stand back up. I'm okay. Sit back down. I notice that the porn on the screen has turned porn into basically a flesh-colored whirlpool trapped within inside the television screen. And I think, that ain't right. Stand back up. Porn again. I'm okay. Sit back down. Flesh-colored vortex through to another dimension. Okay, stand back up. I'm okay. Just because I was so drunk that I didn't realize quite how bad things had gotten, I decided to test this one more time. And sat back down, only to rediscover my flesh-colored vortex of doom trapped inside of a television screen. And I thought, finally, yeah, this probably means that something is not right. I'll go to the bathroom before I feel the need to vomit, just in case. So I stand up, and then I lose memory until I find myself face first into the toilet, puking up what I can only describe as black sand. As it turns out, when I was on my way to the bathroom, and all 6 of the guys present will attest to this, and their girlfriends. When I crossed the threshold from the living room into the hallway, I somehow managed to trip over my own feet, pull a complete double forward roll or somersault, whatever the hell you want to call it, come back up onto my feet and continue walking without losing a beat to my step.
Hey, Tim, I don't think you should be allowed to drink anymore, man.
Right?
All your stories involve crazy things.
Okay, this is a drinking story, but it doesn't involve. It involves something crazy, but no potential harm. There's no potential for harm in the story. So I was on a road trip with a bunch of my. Oh, it'll end up kind of funny. You'll enjoy it. So we're going on a road trip across the U.S. and we end up in New Orleans, and we're going to spend a couple of days there at a party. So our first night we're out, and then we end up in this bar just drinking all night long, and it's getting like around 5-ish, something silly like that. And these bikers walk in, and we're like, maybe we should just get out of here. And these guys sit down, order some drinks. We're like, okay, we'll finish our pitcher and we'll go. And I mean, full on leather, everything, right? Like just looking like badasses. Then they start reciting Monty Python. Like, perfect accents, and like the idiot, like everything it was like brilliant. I mean, okay, it might have sounded perfect because it's through the haze of memory, plus we were inebriated, but it was just like one of the most surreal things in the world. Like this little bar in New Orleans, like nothing special. We're just there to, we're there to finish off the night because it was open, and these guys walk in, and I mean, we listened to them for about half an hour. We were almost ready to leave when they came in, anyways. And we bought them around and said, thank you very much. That was really funny. And we went back and crashed in our hotel for a few hours.
Those are my kind of bikers.
Yes.
That's freaking great. Okay, I got a high story, but not me getting high. It was my buddy. The first time I got high with my with one of my buddies. We're sitting on the back porch. You know, it'd been kind of a party, and everyone's basically gone off, and it's just me and him talking. And so he starts trying to tell me the story of this time he saw this really big owl, right? And like what a deep experience it was. And the next thing I know, I'm sitting across the table from a guy trying to describe this owl by looking at me and going, "Caw, caw." It's like, what the fuck is happening? uh, Mind-altering substances are awesome.
Yes,
Yes, they are. They are great.
Yes.
I have a sleepy story if you're interested. Perhaps one to make Growly feel better about her sleepy talks.
Go for
This
it.
involves my cousin, technically second cousin or cousin sometimes removed. I can't remember exactly. Anyway, I called him Uncle Glenn because that was shitloads easier than working it out. Now, Uncle Glenn was a powerlifter back in the day. He was at an international level, but he didn't take it for competition purposes. He was also a biker, hence I remember the story. So we have this nigh on 7 foot tall man, weighing probably close to 300 kilograms, wearing the world's tiniest leather biker vest. I'm just trying to give you an image of what kind of man we're dealing with here. He also had bright red hair, naturally so, as most of his side of the family does. But he decided that he wanted to stand out even amongst them, so he dyed his goatee purple. Anyway, he had for many years a professionally diagnosed drinking problem, and he managed to give it up. And a few years later, when he finally started drinking, sort of socially and under controlled circumstances again, sort of like one bottle a week, it was discovered that, now that he was enjoying his drink again, he'd try and keep a couple of stacks of bottles in the fridge. And it was discovered one day that all of the beers in his fridge had disappeared. And Uncle Glenn hadn't drunk them, which was the first assumption that everybody made, that he'd, gone back on the juice. And Auntie Helen hadn't hidden them, and nothing else was missing. So they just assumed that somebody had, seen Uncle Glenn bring in all the drink and stolen it for whatever purposes. So, no way that the police can find anything, so they didn't bother to report it or anything. So Uncle Glenn went out and bought another couple of bottles and put them in the fridge and forgot about it. A week later, same thing happens. And the same thing happens basically again and again and again for about 2 months, until Auntie Helen wakes up one evening at about 3 a.m. to discover Uncle Glenn sitting at the kitchen table drinking all of the beer. And we're talking something in the region of 24 standard bottles of beer in one sitting in his sleep.
Oh my.
Don't drink with Ambien.
Whoa.
Wow. Sleep drinking. That's a new one.
I would have called Ambien. Would have said that was the Ambien that made me drink.
We don't have that in New Zealand.
It's just a joke. But yeah.
Okay, so Ansgar and Growly have to get ready for the great debate thing. So
Right.
we are going to probably end this up right now. Ansgar, is that the great debate link you put in the chat?
Yes.
Okay. So for the six wonderful people who are still watching us. Thank you, and thank you. I hope you enjoyed the stories as much as I did, because holy crap, my sides hurt.
Great
I've
stories.
been laughing so much. Thank you for coming. Remember, all the things you've been seeing scrolling on the screen are up for raffle. Don't listen to Josiah and me. We won't actually kill you if you win the raffle pieces we want.
But maybe be afraid of Kylie. She crazy.
Yeah, Kylie might be crazy. She might be crazy. And then everybody take a break, check some eats.
Hey guys, I need to borrow my husband for a few minutes.
We're just ending, love.
Oh, perfect.
Yep.
Perfect timing. I'm sorry I wasn't able to jump in on this one.
You're fine, Crowley. You got a lot going on, pretty lady. So, everybody have a break, and we'll see you in about, 25, 30 minutes at the Great Debate?
Yeah, 25, 30 minutes.
If there's anything after that, drop me a line, and if I can jump in, I will.
There's
Awesome.
going to be a couple of things after that, so.
Yes,
awesome.
there's going to be some things.
All right, whatever. Let me know. I should be able to jump on.
All right, cool.
Cool. Thanks a lot. Speak to you guys later.
See you later.
Everybody, talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.